This.
Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel, and we are here with the brilliant Mike Riley. Welcome,
What's up?
Mike. Right, could you introduce yourself and what you do within Burdens Within?
Mike Riley. I play rhythm guitar. Um, I'm actually like one of the co-founders of the band. Um, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Just a few questions about basically what were you listening to as a kid? What were you listening to when you were growing up? Were you into rock? Were you into metal? Were you into like say, for instance, Motown or something like that? Or what were you listening to?
I I kind of had a broad spectrum of things. Growing up, my dad liked country, so he listened to old time country. My
Yeah,
mom, she liked all the 50s and 60s music and stuff like that. I had an older brother and sister, so my sister was like through you know the the 70s and um, early 80s, so kind of that
yeah,
you know rockish, popish, disco-ish type of phase. So I kind of
yeah,
went listened through that stuff through my family, and then my brother, he's like 7 years older than me, so he was kind of into like the light rock, radio rock, and he started getting into like 80s metal right about when I did, maybe just a little bit before, and then 80s, hair bands and all that stuff was
yeah,
big for me. Um, and then I've kind of got to enjoy most of every genre for the most part, all the way through, you know
yeah,
everything from Bill Haley and the Comets to the Beatles to you know God, I don't know, Bay City Rollers. My sister listened to my brother. He was real big on Quiet Riot when they first came out, and um, and then I've just kind of tried to listen to as much as I could throughout the years, just to kind of keep it open. I leaned more towards the rock, but um, here and there, I'd break it up and try to listen to other things, and
yeah.
just to keep
It's a bit
my
like me.
mind open.
Yeah, yeah. When you were sort of like in your start of like in your development age, what inspired you to become a musician?
Well, as early as I can remember, I always wanted to play drums, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Um, I remember as a kid, I would be sitting in the kitchen when my mom was cooking. I'd be pulling out the Tupperware bowls out of the cabinets and drumming on them with spoons.
yeah,
And it got to my teenage years, and I kept trying to get my parents to get me a drum kit, and of course no parents want to buy their kid a drum set to beat on in the house.
yeah,
So
yeah,
um, so somewhere mid high school, um, some of my buddies in high school, were in bands and stuff, and I kind of started getting into guitar a little bit then, and I bought my first guitar at like a flea market, like one of the little starter guitars,
yeah,
and with came with a little amp and stuff, and um, man, it was rough trying to learn how to play that thing because
Yeah.
the one guy that I looked up to that was local here that I really wanted to teach me something. He's like, yeah, nobody taught me anything. I had to learn on my own. You'll do fine. And I was just like, what? It's like, come on, man. So
Yeah.
so there was like a really rough, sketchy phase where I was just sitting, playing anything I could muster up. If anybody would show me anything, I was like all ears. And then I ran across a couple of guys that actually took the time to like actually show me some stuff, um, and then it kind of progressed from there. Um,
Yeah.
I did finally get a drum set. After playing guitar for a while, I did finally get a drum set and beat around on it. And my first band I was in, I was actually playing drums, and a little bit of my second band. And then they decided that, I played guitar better and I did drums. So they're like, hey, why don't you play guitar and we'll just get another drummer. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, that's kind of, I'm not really sure what inspired me to want to play drums back as a kid. I mean, my dad, he sit around and played guitar. It was mostly country type stuff. Um, but for some reason, I just always wanted to play the drums. And somehow, I mean, I still have a drum set, but I don't play it much. But um, somehow I ended up on guitar, and I've been playing it for years. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind
So,
of how it
yeah.
happened.
Yeah. So, when you said that your dad was played um, guitar when you were younger, was it him who inspired you to become a musician, or was it somebody else, or was it just like natural progression for you to go into being a musician?
I I really it was kind of weird because I've most musicians you talk to, they've just like dreamt of being like the rock star,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know they have just from as early back as whatever, they just pictured himself up on the stage and the lights
Yeah.
and all that. And it really, it sounds weird, but it really wasn't ever that for me. It was, you know, when I first picked it up, I was just like, oh, yeah, I want to learn how to play that. It looks cool, when my buddy plays it and it
Yeah.
sounds cool. And then after I picked it up and realized it was like, ridiculously hard to learn,
Yeah.
um, and I started like looking into it, and all these millions of different guitar players were all picking up a guitar, all different um, like statuses. Some's been playing for 40 years, some's been playing for 5 minutes, but everybody was coming up with something, a different type of music or a different type of song or melody. And I was just always fascinated with, you know, wow, you can pick up like this guitar, or pick up the drumsticks or whatever, and you can just sit and
Yeah.
come up with the music, and I was just always kind of fascinated with that. It wasn't really ever the whole, you know I want to be a superstar type thing. It was always just
Yeah.
more kind of about the music.
Yeah. 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 So, getting on to Burdens Within. Um, who were you? Obviously, you were one of the founding members of the band. But what over the history of the thing? Who was sort of like writing the music? Who's the main writer, or is it a collaboration, or is it like a sort of like a sort of like a collaboration, or was it like one or two people or something like that?
Yeah, actually, me and Ryan, the bass player, Ryan Klein, him and I were the founding members.
Yeah,
Um, we were both in other bands just prior to starting Burdens Within, and both of our bands kind of, fell apart right about the same time, and we just
yeah,
happened to work with each other, and we seen each other at the shows and different things like that, and I was talking to him one night at work, and he's like, "Hey, I was thinking about, putting together this, this other project. He's like, what do you think?" And I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm up for it. So, uh, it was funny when we first started getting together, him and I, to play.
yeah,
He was just coming from a death metal band, and I was coming from another band that was kind of similar to Burdens Within. And so he was used to playing like ridiculously fast and technical and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and I was, more of kind of like a chugging, strumming, melody type mode. And it took us probably, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 times getting together and sitting down before we could actually like click. And
yeah,
we'd we'd pick up the guitars, and I'd be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he'd be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And "What do you think of that?" And I'm like, "Hey, what do you say we just order a pizza and watch a movie?" So we would do that, and finally one day I came up uh with part of this song, and I showed it to him, and he's like, "Yeah," it's like, "We could put this to it, and for the chorus, and the bridge, and it was like, oh, well, that was easy." And then it's like from that point on, it's kind of like, um him and I were just kind of like writing a song like every practice, it seemed like.
yeah, yeah,
And it kind of worked out because I would come up with like the intro melody, verse riff, maybe part of the chorus or something. And it's like as soon as I started playing, he already knew what the bridge was going to sound like, or what the chorus was going to, so
yeah,
it'd be like,
yeah,
I'd be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he'd jump right in and be like, "Oh yeah, we could put this to it and this to it, and we could do this, and we go back to that." And I was just like, "Yeah, that works." And so we started writing songs, him and I, just music. And our original goal was to sit down, write some good music. We wanted to make a CD, and
yeah,
if nothing else, just to actually have just a printed, CD with our music on it. And if
yeah,
anybody liked it after that, then, so be it. We'd go play somewhere or whatever. But um, we never really expected it to do anything. So,
yeah,
um, but we finally started finding some members. Um, we found our drummer, and we started playing along with him, and it was us three for a good long time. And then we went through a few singers. We ended up with another couple of drummers, and finally, it was like the singer was always the hard part, trying to find a singer. We'd find somebody who
yeah,
could sing, but they couldn't write lyrics. And we'd find you know just people wasn't interested, or wanted to do heavier stuff or whatever. And so finally, Ryan was like, "I've got some ideas for lyrics." He goes, "I think I'm just going to write some lyrics, and then if we do happen to find a singer that can't write, we've got lyrics for the songs."
yeah,
And so we end up writing well, he wrote the lyrics to the first album. And um, and it took us a while, but we finally found the original lineup. Everything kind of fell into place. Um, we end up getting signed on with Pavement, Records for our first album, and got our CD finished, and we actually had that CD in our hand that we set our goal out for, and and since then it's been rough. We've had members part ways, and we've had COVID, and all that mess. So it's been a journey for sure, but most of the core music has been Ryan and I.
Yeah.
I guess to answer your question in a long roundabout way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting, the bit of history of the band and everything. It's quite interesting, like how you started out with Ryan, and then adding getting people on board, and sort of like parting ways for various reasons.
Yeah,
Right.
it was just us three, him and I, and a drummer for I bet you 6 years, 6.5, 7 years before we ever found like all the members to that's on the first album.
Yeah.
And we there was a bunch of times where we just like, man, we're never going to find anybody, we should just hang it up, but we just kept plugging along, and finally it fell into place.
Yeah. Right. So you come to this like this last year, and have you since the beginning of last year to now, have you been writing any new material? And if so, are you planning on going back into the studio?
We've actually we've had several songs wrote for gosh, I don't know, probably a good 2 years. Like I said, Ryan and I, once we started writing, it was just we just was producing a song like every other practice or every practice, and we kept them around, so once the first album was done, then we'd have stuff for to move on with, and and since then we've wrote other stuff, but we've actually got Ryan and I have actually went to the studio, and we've recorded, I believe it's 20 or 21 songs.
Cool.
So we have the rhythm and the bass, and we just got like some MIDI drums on there right at the moment, but so all that's recorded and ready to go. We've got new members of the band. We've been kind of getting practiced up on this stuff, and we're getting ready to get them in the studio to put their parts down. We was hoping to have it done by now, but it's with COVID and everything that's been going on, it's been really rough. But we're ready to start knocking some songs out, and that way we can get something for people to listen to, because everybody's sick of hearing about our old album from 2 years ago. So, but we're on the peak, we got the material. We've been practicing the songs. The other guys have got their parts down for a chunk of them. We just gotta get the studio time, get in there to get them, to get their parts down, and that way we can start releasing some singles, and we're hoping, if everything works out right, we're hoping to have the album, or we've been talking about doing a double album or a 2-part album. We're not real sure yet which way it's going to go, but we're hoping to have it out mid-year at this point. So as long as we're we stay on track, I think we can do it, but I hate to say one way or another because everything's went
Yeah.
wrong before when
Yeah.
we planned on it. So
Yeah. So when you get everything recorded, finished, and polished off the way you want it, is there any plans on a tour of the either the US or the UK going off the those this of the stuff that you recorded up to now?
we we have been talking about that for a couple of years. We want to do some type of tour. I don't know if we'll
Yeah.
make it to the UK or not. We'd love to, but
Yeah.
um, we got to get some music out there and get our
Yeah.
following built back up. We had a pretty decent following for a while, and then it's been like 2.5 years since our last album. So in
Yeah.
this business, and the million other bands that's producing albums in between there, it's kind of like we've got put on
Yeah.
the back burner. And
Yeah.
so, we got to get some music out there and, get some more interest
Yeah.
and we would, we would love to do some type of tour, but we're not sure how it's going to go down yet, but
Yeah.
we've got some shows booked, for this year so far. Not many, but we're in the works of, and we're on a few shows for sure. So
Yeah.
um, it just kind of depends on how it plays out, and hopefully we can get this album done and got something to push and a CD to promote and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
short term, I just want to get at least a few singles done so we can get some new music
Yeah.
out for everybody to listen to, and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
we're pretty happy with the way it's turning out, so we think everybody will like it. So we're
Yeah.
excited, to get it out there for everybody to listen
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. It would be cool to actually listen to some of the singles that you'll be releasing. It would be really cool to listen to. Because
Yeah,
I'll be playing. Yeah, I'll be
it's
playing them on the radio as well.
and kind of like the first album, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, we've got some heavier songs, we've got some more melodic songs, we've
Yeah. Yeah.
got some songs that sound kind of punkish, just
Yeah.
you know just whatever feels right. We just kind of do, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so it keeps it happening, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we were talking just before going there on the air, before we went live. Um, we were talking about about new bands that you've been listening to, and one of them was it Tesseract or something?
Uh,
Tesseract.
Tetrarch, I believe is how you
That's
pronounce
yeah,
it.
Tesseract. Tesseract.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just I just happened to stumble across them on Instagram this
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
week, and I've been kind of listening to them a little bit. And another up and coming band is Roses Unread.
Oh,
Um,
they are really good. Them really good.
yeah, I'm friends with the singer on Facebook, and we chit chat every now and again, and I
Yeah.
went and listened to a bunch of their music, and I really like it and their sound. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just there's so many bands. It's like growing up, there was like it was kind of the bands you'd see on the radio, or the when you'd open up the magazines, the
Yeah.
ones that
Yeah.
that hit it mainstream. That was like the only ones you really have heard of, other than like a few local bands. But now, since the internet and social media and everything, it's like there's just bands everywhere, and I've heard so many of
Yeah.
them, and I have a hard time remembering names of the bands because there's just like they're just it's just mind blowing how many there is. And
Yeah.
it's like when I hear the songs, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that, I've heard them. These guys rock, But somebody's like,
Yeah.
hey, have you heard of new bands? And I'm just like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have,
Yeah.
but don't ask me their name because I can't remember. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a bit like, see, I'm getting bands contact sent to me every single day. It's hard to keep up, literally hard to keep up with everything. Just in
yeah,
my, just in, just in my, when I do my show, when I look at how many bands are actually on my list, I just looked at it and it's just 2,700 bands. I was like, oh my god, have I actually gotten that many bands over the last 5 years? I was like, Jesus, it's really hard to keep up with all these new bands coming out. It's really
right.
hard.
Yeah, and I remember, there for what, probably a good year and a half, I was sending you all my friends' bands, that I'd run
Yeah,
into, and the ones
yeah,
I'd find would be like, wow, these guys are good. I should let Elle know. It's like,
yeah,
so,
yeah,
so that probably
yeah,
didn't help. Here, take these five. Here, listen to these four.
yeah. It's very much appreciated. Very much appreciated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whenever I run across, another band that's out there doing it and trying to get their name out there, any way I can help, I try, because
yeah,
we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to do the same thing. So, you know, we
yeah,
all got the right to be heard. So, any way I can help, another band, I try to push and,
yeah,
you know, that way, if they hit it big, maybe they'll remember my band and, let me open for them or something one day,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah,
it's all for
yeah.
one for all, right?
Yeah, true. So true. This is one of the reasons why I started doing my show is to um, help promote a lot of the unsigned and independent bands out there because they like I said they deserve to be heard. They seriously deserve to be heard instead of actually being like laid by the wayside type of thing. And so, look, this is a platform for you. You know what I mean? It's like I want to play you. I want to play your music on the radio show, and I want as many people to hear your music. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's everyone's in
And
the same boat.
that's the great thing about the internet and social media, is it's like, you know, you don't have to spend $1 billion and, have to get signed
Yeah,
on with a huge label and all that just to get your stuff heard nowadays, so it's like,
yeah,
you can come up with some good music, and it don't have to be a $7,000 recording experience or something. I mean,
yeah,
the better recording you can do is, you're better off. But
yeah,
you can be heard now.
yeah,
And that's pretty cool. I like that. I can turn on the computer or whatever, and I can find a new band and to listen to in like a matter of minutes. It's just
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and that's just awesome. It's like, I'm in the mood for something different. Click, there it is.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I This is the final question, and I always ask this with all the bands I've interviewed. Have you any advice for people who want to become a musician? Just pick pick up an instrument or to sing or any sort of like any advice to who wants to be to someone who wants to become a musician?
um, it's all um, unless you're a prodigy, it just wakes up and can just, naturally do it without, any effort. um,
Yeah.
it's what you put in is what you get out. I mean, some people, work for years and years and years, and like, I mean, me, for example, I mean, I learned all the wrong ways. I didn't take any lessons, or I didn't, do anything like that, and I don't know much theory. I don't know all the big words and technical junk. I just pick it up and
Yeah.
I play. If it sounds good, I stick with it. But
Yeah.
um, what I tell people, it's just starting is like I said, what you put in is what you get out. Um, you got to work to get it. Um, get the prize, basically.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And then you know once if you get into the actual music industry, be super careful, because there's a lot of a lot of a lot of bad stuff out there that you'll lose a
Yeah.
lot of money. You lose a lot of
Yeah.
trust in people. There's just a lot of stuff out there that you just got to be really cautious about. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Um, you know, if you're not sure, ask somebody you think is, or just cover your
Yeah.
bases. Don't jump into anything. Um, we're still learning, but through the one album, and what little bit we've been through. I mean, we've been through enough hoops that we've got burned a lot of times, and that's one of the reasons why when I do find bands that I know that's out there doing what we're doing, if I can help, or if I can steer them in a good direction, so they don't have to go through what we went through, I'm all up for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, it's rewarding. I mean, it's if you're in it for the music, it's rewarding, just to hear your stuff being played on the
Yeah.
radio, or get to play the shows and see the people in the audience
Yeah.
dancing and singing your songs and stuff like that. You know um the the whole rich and famous thing, that's kind of not real prominent anymore. Unless
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
you have that super viral hit, or unless you
Yeah.
blow up huge. I mean, you put a lot of your own money and time into everything, and play a lot of shows and don't get paid for it, or you got to pay to play a lot of times anymore. So you
Yeah.
got to want it to get out there. So,
Yeah.
and hopefully, at the end you get paid back. But um, you know, we always just say, we've always been in it just because we love the music. Um, we just, like coming up with stuff that you can see people nodding their head to, and like, wow, man, that was
Yeah.
really good. And, if you keep that mindset, then, you'll be happy through it all. Um, I guess that's the best advice I can give.
Yeah. Sound really good advice. Really good advice. Right. Just about to wrap up now. But first things first. Where can people find Buttons Within? Have you got a website, a Facebook page, Instagram, or a place like that?
We our kind of main place is Facebook. We have a Twitter account. We have an Instagram account. honestly, I don't get on there much,
Yeah.
mainly because Twitter, I've just really never understood it and don't know how it works, and it just frustrates me. Instagram, I'm not like really the hey, look at me in a selfie type of person, so I don't get on there because of that. But our new singer, he likes Twitter, and I think he likes Instagram. So I think he's going to start manning those, and
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
some content on them. As far as everywhere else, we're on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify. I think Google Play. Um, geez, I don't know. Bandcamp, Reverb Nation. Pretty much everywhere that
Yeah. Cool.
people are out there on music now.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and taking time out for your day to do this interview. So
Yeah,
thank you so much.
it was nice to when I got that message from you, I was like, man, I haven't talked to him for a while, and all of a sudden you popped up and like, hey man, you want to do an interview? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. And it's
Yeah.
like I told you before, I was like, I wish it would have been just a little bit later when once we got a single done, that way I'd have a single to talk about or let you listen to
Yeah.
or something. But it shouldn't
Yeah.
be long. Shouldn't be long. We
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good to catch up, and when you do have a single out or album out, we can do this again at some point.
Yeah, yeah. We can
Yeah.
do the single review or whatever you call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
Anyways, yeah. Yeah. It sounds cool to do all this again. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mike, for doing this interview. And we've got to do this again at some
Yeah,
point.
for sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll catch you later.